Hello, once again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our virtual classroom. Let's go over some examples of finding the percentage. We are in all of these problems, we're going to be given a part over a whole, and we're looking for a percentage. What percentage is equal to the fraction that is given to us in the word problem? For example, and just so that we already have it, remember our template is going to be some number over 100 is going to represent our percentage, because percentage is a number over 100, is equal to some part over a whole. Okay, some fraction can be written as a percentage by finding what number over 100 is equivalent to that part over the whole. Remember that in these problems, oftentimes the word is, a number is a part of the whole. We want to make sure that the whole is on the denominator, same as with the 100%, because 100% is equal to a whole. So we're going to follow this same template and observe that template as we're doing this next problem. So let's start with a very simple one. It simply asks, what percent of 2,500 is 200? Again, number one, it's asking for the percentage. So we're looking for some number over 100 of 2,500. So that's our whole, is 200. So let's go ahead and set this up. So again, we're looking for the percentage. So we're looking for something over 100. All right. And that should be equivalent to some part out of a whole. So 200 is what part of 2,500 as a percent. So I'm going to go through with it using first the cross, multiply, and divide method that we just learned. In this case, it's probably a little more complicated, but I want you to be familiar with it because it requires very little thinking. You just write it down and cross, multiply, and divide. So number one, remember, we just line it up. And we just did that. We have our two fractions. We're always going to have two fractions. We have our fraction part over a whole, and we have our something over 100. We're looking for that something. Okay, you can use a letter, a symbol, a question mark. In this case, I like using the letter X. All right, and then number two, as you can see from your notes, we need to just cross multiply. Cross multiply. And so when we cross multiply, guys, we're just going to bring down the equal sign, and we're going to cross multiply. And so on one side, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have 100 times 200. And so remember that when you multiply 100 times a number, you just write down the number and add 2 zeros. So 100 times 200 will yield 200 with 2 zeros. 1, 2. So that's 20,000. And my other cross product is going to be 2,500 times X. So I'm going to have 2,500. And then times whatever X happens to be. So there it is. There's my cross products. And then number three, ladies and gentlemen, my third step, and I'll do it in a different color, we're going to divide. And an easy way to remember what to do next is after we multiply, we just do the opposite, which is divide. And we always divide by the number next to the letter. So notice that here's the letter X. So we're going to divide by the number next to it, which is 2,500. So that means that to get my answer, I need to divide 20,000 by 2,500. And before you start saying, Mr. Lugo, that's really hard, remember that whenever you have whole numbers, if they end in zeros, you can cross out common zeros. So this zero and this zero are in common. It's like we're matching. And this zero and these zero are in common. So that's basically just 200 divided by 25. So my number, my X, is going to be whatever 200 divided by 25 is. All right, so 25 goes into 200 exactly 8 times, because 25 times 100 times 4 is 100. So 25 times 8 is 200. And so, ladies and gentlemen, my answer is 8. So it's going to be 8 over 100, or 8%. So right here, you would just put 8 on the blank. That would fill up 8%. Now, could I have done this differently? Of course I could have done this differently. In fact, right here, I could have used scale factor. So I know that 2,500 divided by 25 will give me 100. So 200 divided by 25 will give me 8. All right, so that's going to be 8 over 100. Yes, you could have used a scale factor. All right, again, 2,500 divided by 25 is 100. So 200 divided by 25 is X. That is possible with this problem. These problems are relatively easy, but I want you to see that both methods give you the same answer, because in the future, the cross multiply and divide method is going to be the better one, the one that you want to use. Just line it up, cross multiply, and then you just divide by the number next to the letter. No thinking involved. Let's do another one. Isaac and his brother need to raise a total of 2,500. Look, a total of 2,500. That's clearly my whole. Okay, that's going to go in the denominator. The boy's aunt wanted to contribute 2,100 towards the cost. So she's going to pay for that part. Okay, not all of it. That's only the part that she's going to pay for. That part over 2,500. And the question is, look at the question. What percent of 2,500 is this? All right. So again, we're looking for the percent. So we're looking for something over 100. And it doesn't matter which side you put it. In fact, I'll put it, put that one on the right side just to show you that it doesn't really matter. All right. So our part is, the part that she's going to pay for is 2,100. And the whole is 2,500. Right? That is the whole. All right. So this time, let me use the other method first, because it does work really nicely in this one. So I can divide 2,500 by 25 to get to 100. So if I divide 2,100 by 25, it will give me my answer. You can use that to get what over 100. That will give you the percentage. However, in the interest of practicing the new method, let me just show you how I would just set this up. So number one, we lined it up. Number two, ladies and gentlemen, we want to cross multiply. All right, so I'm going to bring down the equal sign and I'm going to cross multiply 2,500 times X. So it's going to be 2,500 times X. It doesn't matter on which side we put it. And on the other cross product, we just multiply 2,100 or 2,100 times 100, which you just add two zeros when you multiply by 100. So that's 210,000. All right, and then the final step, ladies and gentlemen, we divide, and we always divide by the number next to the letter. So here's the letter. So we need to divide by 2,500. All right, which means that I need to divide this side by 2,500 to get my answer. Same thing, we have common zeros, so I can actually get rid of some of those common zeros. So this zero and the zero, this zero and the zero. So I just need to divide 2,100 by 25 to get my value of X. That's it. Just do 2,100 or 2,100 divided by 25. And yes, that would give you your answer. But again, notice how I set this up. Notice how I set this up. Let me set up the next one, and you can figure that out on your own. Let me set up the next one really quickly just to show you how easy it is to do. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, Nate and Joy plan to spend 12 out of 20. There's the part. There's the whole 12 out of 20 hours per week performing. Look at the question. What percent is this? So we're looking for the percent. We're looking for what out of 100? Well, ladies and gentlemen, yes, you can multiply, or you can cross multiply and divide. So if I cross multiply, that's going to give me 20x. Oops, and I didn't mean to move that. So that's going to give us 20x. And the other side would just be 12 times 100, right? And again, you would divide both sides by the number next to the letter, the number next to the letter. All right, so X would equal to 120 divided by 2, which would give you 60. Now, yes, could I have multiplied this by 5? Yes, and 12 times 5 is 60. You get the same answer. But again, I want to show you that both methods work. And that's really what I want you to get from this lesson, guys. Both methods work, and I want you to be familiar with this new method because we're going to be using that more for harder problems in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found this video helpful. And with that in mind, I will see you next time.